Football Fever, sponsored by GTCC, Hardee's, and Shift Ed.
Welcome into Week 6 of Friday Football Fever.
Oh, we are taking you to some of the best matchups in our area, and boy, were there some good ones.
We'll start off with our Friday Football Fever game of the week, Northwest Guilford at Grimsley.
Yeah, big-time matchup in Guilford County. Grimsley sporting new jerseys for their homecoming game against the Vikings. Let's get into it. Grimsley QB Ryan Stevens throwing it up for Alex Taylor. He's going to come down with the leaping grab. 10-yard TD gives Grimsley a 7-0 lead. Then Worley running back Mitchell Summers single-handedly proving that the lower man always wins.
Always wins.
Breaking tackles until he breaks free. Goes 56 yards for the score. The second touchdown of him for the game. Northwest Mike Gadet getting the rock and making a big play. Picking up a big chunk of yards for the Vikings. But the Worley defense tightens up here as Fred Sellers going to pick this pass off on the 3-yard line, killing the Vikings' momentum and setting up the very next play. Steven throwing it a mile high in the air to Terrell Anderson, making the catch, shoving off the defender.
Get him off.
And then he goes 97 yards for the touchdown. Grimsley taking care of business as they beat those Vikings 55-12.
Man, they continue to have playmakers on that team. Still ahead of this edition of Friday Football Fever, more highlights from around the Triad.
And who would prevail in the annual battle between Eastern and Western Alamance? Paige taking on Ragsdale, and much more coming up.
Welcome back to Friday Football Fever. Let's head out to Burlington. The Cummings Cavaliers hosting the Southern Alamance Patriots. Early on, Bradley Capps handing it off to Logan Fuss, getting across the goal line here after going for two. The Patriots lead 8-0. A few minutes later, it's almost like we're seeing the same thing all over again. This time, Capps handed it off to Stanley Eno, running it in on the same side even. Patriots up 16-0. Cavaliers looking for an answer. Janias Sharp handing it off. Jonathan Taylor barreling his way through everybody. Getting all those yards there. That eventually sets this up. Early second quarter here. Sharp going through the air. Delonte James with the touchdown grab. Cummings on the board, but Southern Alamance wins it 58-28.
And one of the Triad's biggest rivalries got a new installment this week as Eastern Alamance took on Western Alamance out in Elon. And the Warriors, they were looking to win for a second week in a row, while Eastern Alamance wore DC stickers to honor fallen classmate Devin Clark. And the Eagles offense was flying high early as Jason Ball, he's going to connect with Josiah Thomas for the score, and that ties the game up at 7 apiece. Now, late in the second, Warriors kicker Jacob Carpenter lines this one up from 46 yards. It's up, and it just squeaks over the crossbar. And that brings the game within one. The student section had mad love for the kicker. Now West driving again as Ethan Kuhnel, he drops back, and James Newton takes the elevator to the top floor and snags this ball over the Eastern defender. Of course, it's head tapping time. That set up Western for another Carter field goal, but now in the fourth, ball finds Trenton Wiley, and Wiley gets loose and dives for the goal line, and after what seemed to be forever, conference, talking, decision, indecision, the refs, they finally call it a touchdown. East, they celebrate the win. They move to 4-1 on the year. They win at 22-16.
Well, I made the trip up to Kernersville to check in on Reagan and Glenn. Glenn looking to break the 0-0 tie with a red zone field goal, but the Raiders, they're going to block that kick, and they'll break their tie themselves as Landon Callahan goes 80-plus yards on the scoop and score after the block kick. And that got Reagan's offense going. Next possession for Reagan here coming up. Makai Purvis with the long throw, drops this one just over the hand of the Glenn defender, Cassidy Harvin, coming down with the DD catch. Now, get this, Bobcats starting QB Mario McClure went down with an injury. This is a freshman backup, Jarrell Crawford, going over the middle to Corian Wardlow for the touchdown. Young men getting it done. Then Glenn with a big special team play of their own, a blocked punt for a touchdown. Had both in this game just before halftime, a back and forth battle, but Reagan pulls it out 28-26.
Ragsdale loaded up the buses and made the trip over to Paige to take on the Pirates tonight. First quarter here. Paige quarterback Marquise Lewis keeps the ball, makes a run for it, zigzagging past the defense, riding the sideline for several yards, getting a big first down here. Later on, it is fourth down, and Tyler Elliott attempts a field goal. It is up, way up, but no good. The scoreboard hasn't moved. We are still sitting at 0, folks. Now to the second quarter, Paige has the ball again. Lewis hands off to Maurice Andrews, who breaks a few tackles and runs it all the way down to the 30-yard line. On the very next play, Lewis fakes the handoff to Andrews and takes it in for the touchdown himself. It was a big night for the Pirates. They get the win over Ragsdale 21-7.
South Davidson looking to get back in the win column, meeting up with Lexington. It was homecoming in Lexington, and the Yellow Jackets got off to a strong start, forcing South Davidson on a 3-and-out before driving down the field with Isaiah Smith sweeping his way to the end zone for the game's first touchdown. Lexington in front by 7. Now fast forward, later on in the first half, Wildcats going forward on 4th and 1, worst possible situation. Devin Wells scooping it up that fumble, a 90-yard touchdown.
Running for his life.
That's a long.
Yeah, great for Lexington though. Lexington goes on to win it 19-12.